Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Right, it has been just over a year since I filmed my first and my last handbag collection video, and since then some have left the collection and been sold on and gone to new homes, and some have joined the collection. In fact, there's quite a few changes since the last video. So yes, basically today I'm just going to run you through my handbag collection. I'm not going to go into too much detail about all of them. Some of the bags I have actually made dedicated videos to, and they have their own handbag review videos, so we'll leave little I buttons above when I get to those handbags. But otherwise I'm just going to run you through a few pros and also a few cons of each bag. Starting off with bag number one, of which you regulars will know very, very well. This is Judith. She's one of my bestest friends. I do actually name my handbags for those of you who are new and have come over to my channel. I know it's a bit weird, but you know what? I spend so much time with these bags that I like to think that they have a little personality of their own. So this is Judith. Judith is probably one of my favourite bags. She is a LOEWE puzzle bag, and she is the small size. I have her in tan leather and she's beautiful. She has been worn so much, I can't even tell you. It's an incredibly versatile bag. This bag I have actually made a dedicated video on, so there'll be an I button above if you want to have a look at the full review. You can wear it in lots of different ways. I think there's about 5 or maybe 6 ways that you can wear a LOEWE puzzle bag. Great as a crossbody, really good hands-free bag. This small size in particular is just a really good all-rounder. I can fit all of my crap in here that I carry around, my vlog camera, card holder, keys, chargers of this, that and the other. So I can fit a lot of crap in this bag. It is deceiving. My only niggle with this bag, I have one small thing, and I guess that's just, it's something I can't really change, and that is that the hardware comes in silver. Now, one of you guys actually messaged me or commented on a video not long ago and said that actually they were starting to make this bag in this colourway with gold hardware now because it's what people were requesting. Well, that annoys me slightly because I wish they'd started making it in that colourway from the start, because I wear gold jewellery and so the silver is a little bit annoying. But sorry Judith, I love you nonetheless. Really good bag, very expensive because it is one of those brands that's very, very prestigious, but in my honest opinion, well worth the money. Moving on to my second bag. This is the Gucci DIONYSUS in the medium size. I think it's also called the Supreme, maybe. Again, it's got silver hardware. It doesn't bother me so much on this one for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but this one was very much an it bag of a few years ago. I think I've had this for about 3 years now. Bought it at Heathrow Airport before I went away on my honeymoon. Simon actually bought it for me as like a little honeymoon treat, and I love it. I haven't been tempted to sell it, however, I don't use it as much as probably what I should, and I think this is the problem with it bags, is that you kind of buy them, you love them for the moment, but then once that it bag kind of dies and it's replaced by another one, I mean, I'm only speaking for myself, but I kind of go, but I haven't been tempted to sell it because it is still a really good bag. Now, I have the one which is in the canvas, and it's kind of like a coated canvas, so it's quite practical because it's easy to clean. And then if I just open this flap, it has this gorgeous sort of taupey coloured suede, sorry, I was going to say hardware, taupe coloured suede in there and also on the back. Not very practical on the back because, as you can see, it's got really dirty where it's rubbed against denim and other things. It's a really good bag. It's roomy, it is a good shoulder bag. It's a bit bulky to wear as a crossbody, so I wouldn't really say it's a good crossbody, but they do smaller versions which are good as crossbodies. I think just the case with this one is that it was an it bag and therefore it was very of the moment, and that's why I don't really use it that much, but still a very good bag. Beautiful, and I think minus this little clasp detail here, it is still quite classic. Now, on to the controversial bag of the last video, the Chloe FAYE, of which I have two. So I have this one at the front. This one was my first one, and this one was actually a prominent purchase for me. It marked a very special moment where A, I turned 30 years old, and that was quite a big turning point for me, and B, it's when my blog really started to take off and I started to earn a living off the blog, and that was only 3 years ago. So yes, that was a really big purchase for me. The problem with this one, and this is called Misty Beige, this colour, is that it's so impractical. Now, what I explained in my last handbag collection video was that I just couldn't bear to give this bag up, couldn't bear to sell it, because it has that nostalgic value, that I love it because I bought it, it was a special birthday and a special kind of point in my life where things were turning around. And yeah, it's very impractical, which is why I don't wear it very often, just through fear that I don't want to get it any more dirty than it already is. But if we move on to this one I actually got, oh gosh, maybe about 8 or 9 months after the first one, and this is so much more practical. It's a more practical colour, because it's darker, it doesn't really get any kind of damage to it. The only thing I would say is that these bags are quite noisy. They're kind of like the Chloe Susanna boots. As you move, they jingle. They're also really heavy, so that's something to note. The leather is quite thick, and this suede, and this is a solid ring on there as well, so they are quite heavy bags. But the Chloe FAYE I think is a classic. I mean, it's stayed around for a good 3 years already. There's no sign of it going away, even though there are new Chloe It bags coming out. It is a beautiful bag. They're very roomy as well. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. The only thing to note about them being roomy, because they have this kind of concertina effect to them, they have lots of different compartments. You can fit a lot of stuff in there, but it does distort and takes away the kind of prettiness and the aesthetic of the bags. The Gucci Marmont. Okay, this bag I raved about when I first bought it. In fact, for probably about a year. I bought this 2 years ago at Christmas, so almost 3 years ago now, I think. And I bought it again at Heathrow Airport, so I got that tax-free deduction on there, which is very nice. And I actually bought it with a matching belt, but the belt was in tan leather with this Marmont, the new logo. It was around the time where the logo was just becoming a massive, like, re-emerging trend. And the logo hasn't really gone away since. I mean, we just have to look at Balenciaga for that, who have gone logo crazy. But yeah, I've got to be honest with you, I've gone off this bag a little bit, and I don't mean to sound horrible, but it is just because I now see this bag everywhere. It very quickly turned into an it bag, and because so many people had it, it just put me off, which I know is probably a terrible thing to say, but it did. It just really put me off. Practicality wise, I wore this bag to death. Like, it's had its money's worth. I'm still not tempted to sell it yet, because I still feel like I might fall back in love with it, so I'm sort of giving it the benefit of the doubt. But it's black leather. Gucci do a tough leather. Like, I've got a few scuffs probably on the corners, but otherwise it is in such good condition. For all this tough leather and these quite hefty gold chains and this rather prominent big brass logo, it's actually not that heavy a bag. It does work well as a crossbody as well as it does a shoulder bag or a long shoulder bag. It is a bit bulky, so if you've padded it out with lots of stuff, probably not the best and most ideal crossbody bag, but the chain is longer is what I'm saying, so it does work. It's got a roomy interior, it's easy to get into. There's no fuss inside, it's literally just one compartment, one of those pointless foam flap compartments that no one ever uses, and one zip compartment for any change or valuable stuff that you've got. It's a really good bag. I honestly can't fault it, other than the fact that I just feel like it's already dated and had its day. Now, staying with Gucci, this one is a little bit of a dark horse, because so many of you after my last video, and whenever you guys see me wearing this, ask if you can buy it, because apparently it is quite a sought after bag, and Gucci stopped making it, so now unless you're looking to buy one second hand, no one can seem to get their hands on them. But this is the small top handle bag. It's quite basic. It's a grained leather. It's got this stamp here which says made in Italy by Gucci, and it's got the more scripty Gucci logo on there. It's got a detachable thin shoulder strap which is also adjustable, and the little luggage tag detail there which has got the old and the more classic GG logo on it. It has a zip closure at the top, which I think is quite rare these days. A lot of this kind of sort of mini tote or even tote bags tend to be just completely open with zero security at the zip, and so I think that might be, I mean, I'm just hazarding a guess, that might be why this is actually quite a popular and sought after bag. You can crossbody it, you can shoulder strap it, it can be a handbag. The grained leather makes it really practical in terms of if it's going to get damaged, you don't really notice any scratches on there. There's zero denim transfer because it's black and it's grained leather. Yeah, it's a brilliant bag, and I think it was quite reasonably priced in the way of designer handbags. I mean, still very expensive. I think it was around about £720-ish, which I know is still a lot of money, but in terms of designer handbags, when you look at the cost of some of my others, quite reasonable for something which is very, very practical. The Gucci SOHO disco bag. This is a really popular bag. Anytime I go out, I see women with this bag, usually in black or the slightly beige colour, or even sometimes red. Very classic colours, really good choices to go for in this bag. This, I think, I always say, if anyone's looking to buy their first designer bag and they want something of this kind of size, a really good crossbody, you honestly cannot beat this bag. Now this is what I would say the older GG Gucci logo, or maybe we should term it as the classic logo, but this exact same shape of bag is also available with the newer logo, and I'd imagine because this shape of bag and this style is just so popular, no matter what logo Gucci come out with in the future, they're always going to continue to make this bag. So it might not be the SOHO disco, but it might be the Marmont logo of this shape of bag. I just couldn't fault it. It's such a good bag. This one in particular, this colour is called Champagne, just in case anyone is wondering. It's a slightly metallic sort of oyster colour, which is nice because a lot of my bags, as you'll see, are quite light, quite dark in colour. So this is quite a nice one to just be a bit light. It's got this tassel detail on the side. A zip closure again, which is really handy because it feels nice and secure. This is a really good kind of city bag if you're out and about in the city. Inside, again, no fuss, basic. I have got some Jaffa cake crumbs in there, so excuse the mess. That is because I took this bag to Disneyland with me in November for Simon's birthday, and I put Jaffa cakes in there as my Disney snack, so apologies for that. Yeah, canvas interior, couple of pointless pockets which no one will ever use, but really, really roomy. I can fit so much in here. I always call this a Mary Poppins bag. So yeah, if anyone's looking to sort of invest in your very first designer handbag, this one is one that you cannot go wrong with. Right. On to my vintage Chanel. Now, some of you tried to catch me out because in the first handbag video I did, I said I don't have any Chanel handbags because I won't buy a Chanel handbag. They're so expensive. I just think they're a bit of a rip-off. What I meant was, or I think I might have actually said this, I wouldn't ever buy a brand new Chanel handbag. I guess you can never say never, but as it stands, I go into those stores. I'm happy to pay the money for shoes. Shoes I think are really worth the money. But when it comes to the handbags, £4,000 plus, that's a car. I mean, this was 2,250-ish, I think. And I know you could buy a car for that as well, but £4,000, I can't. I think everyone has their limit, don't they? Everyone has their kind of draw off point where you just wouldn't spend any more money on a handbag, and this is my most expensive handbag. It's beautiful, I love it so much. It is a small classic flap. It is from 1991, I think. Don't quote me on that, I'm just trying to remember what it said. I bought it off Vestiaire. I actually made a full video dedicated to the buying of this handbag, and then I also did a what's in my handbag video for this as well. It was kind of more of an in-depth review. The handle is a little bit short to wear as a crossbody. I've worn it as a crossbody a couple of times, and you guys might see it kind of comes just underneath the boob. But this is, it's a classic. You can't get any more classic than this. I will never get rid of this bag. This bag is just, to me, everything that I wanted. I love the fact that it's vintage. I feel like in my head I make up a little story of who it might have belonged to. Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's a classic. If you have one of these on your list, maybe a new one, and you, like me, can't stretch to afford £4,000 plus, or maybe you're just like, I cannot spend that money on a bag, I would highly recommend either looking in vintage stores. There's loads around London, there's definitely loads in Paris, or have a look on one of the second-hand websites like Vestiaire, where I bought Jacqueline here. Right, now on to the Celine Trotteur? I don't know. It's French, isn't it? So I'm probably not doing that any justice whatsoever. Now this bag I bought last year, I think around autumn time. It might have been around September. Yeah, I think it was sort of late September. I actually bought this from Bicester Village, which is really, really awesome place to buy handbags. It is essentially a designer outlet, and they have a Celine. So I have always been on the hunt for a box bag. And they always tell me in the Celine at Bicester Village, we're not going to get a box bag because they're so classic. And if we do, it's probably going to be a neon yellow, which is clearly not my jam. So I went in looking for a box bag and just hoping that they might have had one in a nice neutral colour. And I actually stumbled across this, and I fell in love with it. I just thought it was a really nice sort of small crossbody bag, perfect for when I'm just sort of out and about and I need to be hands-free. Really classic, really beautifully made, quite nice autumnal colours. Granted, I never use this in spring or summer. This is literally an autumn winter bag just because of the colours. The only thing I will say about this bag, and a lot of Celine bags in general, they do this very smooth leather. And one scratch, and that is all you can look at. It's all you can see on the bag when you get a scratch on these. So you do have to be so careful with them. There are occasions where I think, oh, I'm going to be having like here, there and everywhere, and I'm going to have loads of shopping bags with me or whatever. And I kind of always put myself off taking this bag unless I know I can be super careful with it. So it is a little bit precious. Now buying this from Bicester, I did get it at a discounted rate. This is the small size, and I think this was around £720. It was last year, so my memory might not be completely accurate, but it was around £720. It's got gold hardware as well, and an adjustable strap. And yes, I love it very much. Moving on to Saint Laurent. Ooh! Okay, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. This bag, I would say, is my only evening bag. And that is the only reason that I still have it in my possession. I don't know if this is called the KITE. I know it's a monogram. Or is it the Cassandra? I can't really remember. Anyway, I would deem this as my only evening bag because it looks like an evening bag. You can tuck away the strap so that it forms a clutch. I hate clutch bags, by the way, so I would never wear it as a clutch. It's got this little tassel, obviously very logo-orific. I am a bit irritated that I didn't, and I still can't figure out why I didn't buy the gold hardware in this bag, because I don't wear silver jewellery. So that does confuse me. This bag admittedly was a bit of a whim purchase. I think I'd had a really good month in terms of the blog, and I'd had a good few collaborations, and I'd got a bit carried away and thought, oh, I'm gonna buy, you know, a really expensive handbag, and I bought this, and it was a mistake, if I'm being honest. But having said that, it is my only evening-y-esque handbag, which is why I keep it in reserve just in case I ever go out. You can crossbody it, although it does look a bit weird. It does look nice with quite like an all black outfit. Just for me, it sometimes just feels a little bit too dressy. And I'm a little bit over this YSL logo. The tassel is also annoying. It just sort of flips around like that. The bag shape in general, you can't fit a lot in there, which is why I say it's an evening bag. Like, I can't fit my vlogging camera in there without it bulking out too much. So yeah, and I barely ever go out in an evening, so this one pretty much just lies redundant at the back of my wardrobe, just hoping for the evening where I decide to not be an antisocial old fart. Moving on to Simon Miller. Now this is the bonsai bag in the size 20, which is basically the medium size. It's not the teeny tiny one that's about this big and pointless, and I have no idea why anyone would ever buy that. And it's not the ginormous taupe bag. This is nice in-betweeny size. Now I have two of these, tan and black. The tan was my first. I bought this last year. I bought it off Net-a-Porter and it was £480. They've since gone up in price because it's been deemed another it bag. They've gone up in price to £575 now. They are both made out of nubuck. They do make these bags in leather. I chose the nubuck because I thought it was beautiful, and they are beautiful. They're just so impractical. I mean, not so much the black, but definitely the tan. I mean, if you can see this on camera, mine is filthy. It's scratched, it's filthy. I like to say it's got a bit of character to it, but it has been through the mill somewhat. Now, these bags are very much aesthetically pleasing rather than being a practical bag. They have these round sort of hoop handles, which are synonymous with this designer, and it makes them very recognisable as being a Simon Miller bag. So the logo on the bottom basically is a bit pointless, because if you see these handles you kind of know someone's got a Simon Miller bag. They have no closure to them, no closure whatsoever. There's no magnet, no zip, no clasp, no nothing. They also have no hoops for you to attach a shoulder strap. They don't come with a shoulder strap. They don't come with anything else other than these hoopy handles. So you have no other way of carrying it other than to hold it by said handles, which does make it a little bit sort of limiting in terms of how you can wear it. Now this one I only tend to use in spring and summer because it is a much lighter colour, and this one, because it's black, I think I'll wear this one a little bit more over winter. Really, really good bags if you like this kind of quirky design. Not super practical, but they are very trendy. Right, now, next bag is from CELINE, which is one of my favourite French brands. I absolutely love their clothes, but this is the first bag that I've had from them. This is the Victor bag, so it's quite a classic, and I have it in black leather. In terms of branding, just a teeny tiny, very subtle, kind of like Celine logo down here. Got a shoulder strap. Again, it's a perfect bag for a crossbody. This is adjustable, so you can alter it to wherever you want. It has a zip closure, so if you're one of those people that does like to have a zippy closure, this has that, so your belongings are going to be more secure. It's quite roomy. I mean, you can see from the bottom of the bag the sort of width. You can fit a decent amount of stuff in there, and the only thing I will say is that this leather is very smooth. Now, I haven't worn it enough to test this yet, and fortunately I haven't actually scratched it, but I feel like this would scratch quite easily, and as soon as you get a scratch on it you're going to be able to see it. So it's always handy to have some leather conditioner to buff out any scuffs and scratches, but that would just be my only note in terms of this leather, is that it looks quite delicate, shall we say, but otherwise a really good all-rounder with a surprisingly roomy interior. Injecting some much needed colour into my handbag collection is Aspinall, and this is this small Lottie bag, and I've had this I think for about a year, maybe just under. It has gold hardware and it has, again, a grained, well, it's a mix of grained and smooth leather. The only smooth leather is this little sort of band which runs over the top of the bag. It's got a really unique and quirky little flip up clasp, and then inside one main compartment and then some flaps. Yeah, this is a really good bag. It's I don't use it very often because it's a bold red, so it's obviously not that versatile. But if you're someone that likes to have maybe a capsule wardrobe and you stick to those very classic, very French colour scheme in your wardrobe, then this is a really good option. In terms of the shape of bag, it's a really, I'd say this is quite a similar bag to, again, the Gucci SOHO. It's on that kind of level of it being crossbody, shoulder. You can double up the chain straps, so it's a shorter shoulder bag, kind of got slightly Chanel vibes there. It's a really good bag, and it's quite reasonably priced as well at £450. This is a small size. It does also come in a larger size as well, and it comes in, oh crikey, an array of different colours. So whatever your kind of colour scheme, I'm sure there will be a colour there for you. The Mansour Gavriel or Gavriel, I don't know how we're supposed to be pronouncing that as per usual. This is the mini bucket bag. I know it doesn't look very mini. I would have said this should have been called small because there's nothing really mini about it. This bag, I actually got this at the same time as I got the black Simon Miller bag. So I got them both at the same time, and I'd wanted this for a long time. I'd seen it on a few other people and I was like, oh, that looks like a good bag. This bag was also a kind of stand-in for Judith when Judith has had enough and when she needs a little break. I kind of didn't want to wear out my LOEWE puzzle so much. I wanted another tan bag because tan is a really versatile colour and a colour that I love, especially for accessories. I like it, I really do, and actually it's been a really good bag. The only thing is, it is just a tricky bag. It's very structured, but that is the whole point of the bag. It does feel very plastic. It's very basic inside. There's no lining. You can just see the stitching, how it's all pieced together. And actually, while I'm on the topic of stitching, this has started to happen in the corner of the bag. So it's actually the stitching is starting to come undone. And I had one of these bags about a year and a half ago, and I returned it because of the stitching. So now the same is happening. So I'm going to have to see if they can do something about that. The only other thing as well is that this bag is tricky to do up properly because the same leather is used on this little sort of tie that runs through the top, and you have to kind of tie it, and if you tie it in a bow like so, as you move, that actually starts to come undone because it's so stiff it just doesn't actually stay in place. Which is such a shame because it's a really cool bag, and like a bucket bag is such a classic. You can crossbody it as well, although it is a little bit bulky, which is a good thing because you can fit quite a lot of stuff in there, but when you have it as a crossbody it's just a bit bulbous hanging on the front of your body. Yeah, really good bag. I would just be a little bit wary about spending this amount of money, £490 on it. Right, now I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I only did a handbag review, a very thorough handbag review on this one only a couple of weeks ago. So we'll pop an I button above so that you guys can watch that if you're interested in knowing more about this bag. But this is the small Chloe NILE. I have it in biscotti beige. It has gold hardware, and as you can see, mine has been monogrammed with my initials. This was a bag gifted from Selfridges. I would just add as well, lots of these, or some of these bags have been gifted, so I'll make sure that everything is disclaimed and marked very clearly down below in the description box, just because sometimes I forget to mention because I've got so much info that I want to get out. So yes, Selfridges gave me this bag and they had it monogrammed. As far as I'm aware, the monogramming is exclusive to Selfridges. It's £35 per letter. So if you're interested, you can head over there and check that out. They do it on a couple of Chloe designs. I'm not sure if they do it across any other brands. It can be a handbag, it can be a crossbody. This you can detach as well. You could do it as a long shoulder strap, a short shoulder strap bag. Yeah, I'm not going to say too much because I did the review on this one and we all know the outcome of that review. Stella McCartney. I had a Falabella a couple of years ago. I really didn't like it. I didn't get on with that bag at all. Didn't like the straps. Wasn't a fan of the fabric because obviously all Stella bags are not real leather. So this, I'm not really sure of the specific style name, but I think it's the perforated logo hobo or tote bag. This, I believe, is the medium size. There is one size above this, which is ginormous, and there are some smaller options as well. And I think the smaller option has a shoulder strap. This one has no shoulder strap. It has a pouch inside, which is detachable. So this is a really good travel bag because that is where I put my passport so that I never lose it, because that has happened before. And yeah, it is very roomy. I've currently just got loads of tissue paper in here. Someone asked me the other day about the lining inside the bag. It's like a weird olive green and it's like a faux suede. So it is essentially imitation leather and imitation suede inside. But there are a few pros, and I know there's going to be loads of you, because for the price of this bag, which was £565, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes, £565 for this bag. I know there's going to be lots of you going, oh, I would not pay that for a bag that's not real leather. It does come with some pros. Real leather, especially if you were to buy it in this colour, if you got a denim stain, that's it. Game over. That bag is ruined. You're just going to have to live with it with the denim stain. Even a lot of professional cleaners cannot get denim stains out of bags if they're this colour. It would make a really good mummy bag as well if you've got loads of like nappies and stuff to throw in there. Because it's easy to clean, it's very practical in that sense. So yes, that is my Stella McCartney big hobo-y tote bag. Now, you can't call yourself a British person if you don't have at least one Mulberry bag. I think it's the law. So this Mulberry bag, I actually bought this from Bicester. Again, it's quite heavy. There's a lot of leather here. It's kind of like a mock croc. And this is called the KITE bag. So I don't think they actually manufacture this bag anymore for current Mulberry designs. And I know there's been a lot of changeovers within the Mulberry company, so a lot of the new designs are completely different to the Bayswaters and the Alexas and all those kind of bags. But I saw this and I thought this was a really beautiful bag, and actually come autumn winter I use this bag so much more. It's practical, it's a good size for carrying loads of stuff. Again, if I need to take the big Canon camera out, I will always use this bag. Now the straps actually do something interesting. So you've got two straps here so you can hold it like this, which I know is probably not the most practical kind of bag because it's just a handbag, but then you've got these straps on the side which come up, and then those can flip back round. They basically all spin round so that you can hold it, and you can hold it that way, and that will actually go over your shoulder, so you can have it as a shoulder bag. So it's quite interesting that there's a couple of different ways that you can wear the bag. And it does also, similar to the Stella bag, have a zippy pouch which is attached to the inside of the bag. So again, that would make another good travel bag. It does have a form of closure, so it has this kind of like lobster claw and little loop, so it will close like that. I kind of think that's a little bit redundant because it still leaves the bag quite open. If you were to have it over your shoulder anyway, your elbow essentially would clamp that together, so I feel like it's a bit pointless, but hey ho, there's a little bit of added security on there anyway. Now this was a bargain, and I think they still have these bags at Bicester, so if you live anywhere near Bicester or you live in London, definitely worth a visit because these are really, really good value for money. And this was about £460, which is such good value, because I would have said these would probably retail at over £1,000. So that was a really good bargain buy for me. Ah, my beloved Givenchy Antigona. In all fairness, I haven't actually used this in maybe over a year, which I know is so bad. This was a very triumphant purchase, not by me either, by Simon. This was a bag that I wanted for ages. I wanted a plain one, but in the end I found this one with studs, and I was having a bit of a moment with studs. This was probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And so this we found on Vestiaire secondhand. It was brand new. It was retailing in Selfridges at £1,650, and Simon got this brand new, and by brand new I mean it had all of the that blue tape over the hardware, how it comes when they just go and get one out the stock room, had all that on it, immaculate. It still had the tag on it from the retailer. I think it was bought from Harrods. It was perfect, and he bought this for just over £800 on Vestiaire. I remember at the time I was going around telling everyone about the bargain of the century. Again, would make a good travel bag just because of its size. It's heavy, and this is very structured. This is not one of those bags that folds down. It is actually a bag that you should probably keep padded out, even though I don't. It's a bag essentially that I still love, and that I can't bring myself to get rid of, but it is a bag which I am just tending to not reach for first. I'll reach for other bags over this one. I feel like the Antigona might have had its day. Apologies if anyone else has got an Antigona out there. I don't want to offend you. I'm just sort of snowballing ideas on why I don't use it. Yeah, I feel like it might have had its day a bit. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a wag bag. Not sure. I do still love it. I just love to look at it rather than use it. On to my very last bag, and adding another little injection of colour. This bag I actually got the same time as the Antigona, which I just featured, and I'm really sorry that it looks a bit sort of lumpy, but I haven't stuffed this out, and this literally gets shoved at the back of my wardrobe. Which I'm not sure why, because this is actually a really good bag. So this is the Saint Laurent tote bag. It is classic, it's basic, it's well made, it's durable. I featured this in my best and worst handbags video. This was one of the best. It's just a really classic tote. If you want a designer tote, I would 100% recommend this because it comes in lots of different colours. Inside, typical tote bag, very roomy. Again, it's another one that has a magical inside pouch. So, again, would make a good travel bag. It has a magnetic closure on it. So a little bit of security on there, and it has a little lanyard with the little YSL logo in there as well if you're particularly bothered about lots of branding. Really good bag. However, this started off at £590, which is how much we paid for it. However, it has now gone up, let me look at my notes, to £645. So that price is creeping up a little bit. I'd still say it's worth the money if you are in need of a tote bag. I'd probably advise going for a classic black over another colour, unless you already have something in classic black. But yeah, again, another really good bag if you want a first designer bag and you want something that's really big and practical, a bag you can fit your life in, or a really good travel bag. Right guys, that is it for my up-to-date designer handbag collection. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you've got any questions or queries at all about any of the bags that I featured in this video, maybe if you're looking to buy one of them and you just want to ask me a question, do leave that down in the comment section below, and either Simon or myself will get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday or whatever day it is that you're watching this, and I will see you next time.